Aloha, friends. This is Syracuse basketball postgame presented by Krause Health, the exclusive healthcare provider for SU Athletics. Brent Axe here in rainy, cold. It's trying to decide if it's snowing or raining Syracuse, New York. But Donna Ditota, folks, is there in Hawaii. Donna Ditota, the photographer of that great shot, by the way. Rainbows and sunshine. But not for the Orange today, Donna, as they fall.
For the Orange, no.
Nope, not for the Orange. They fall to Gonzaga 76, to 57, our final score there. So 2 losses for the Orange in Hawaii. As we speak, we don't know who they're going to play tomorrow. UCLA's got a pretty big lead on. We got a pretty good idea. Yeah, I'll just leave open the possibility of one of the great comebacks in Maui Invitational history. But it's looking like Chaminade, the host of this event for the Orange. Lot to go over here, Donna, in terms of what happened in the game, but a developing situation in Hawaii. Benny Williams did not play in this game. He was on the bench. He had a warm-up jersey on. He had his jersey on under that. And Adrian Autry didn't have much to say about this afterwards, but what did he say? What do we know at this point?
I just asked him, what's up? I basically said, what's up with Benny? He didn't play today. And he just no commented. He said no comment. From what I have been able to glean from it, I think it's a disciplinary kind of thing. He's definitely not hurt. He warmed up. He looked fine. I think it's again, I don't want to say too much because I don't have anything on the record. So as reporters, we don't like to say too much if we don't know exactly what it is. Yeah. But I think it's a, from what I've been told, somewhat minor disciplinary thing. Which is interesting because it's happened once before, right? We have a violation of team rules before. He missed 2 regular seasons games and an exhibition game. Comes back, played 18 minutes yesterday, as you noted. It's not an injury situation. And now we have another minor disciplinary thing going on here, which is 2 already for Benny on the books here. And while I understand where Adrian's coming from in one way, you don't want to speculate on certain things, but you've already had a situation with Benny. So I don't know if no comment is the way to go. Even if he just went with the violation of team rules again, it's just going to leave open that world of speculation here, and it's going to create a little bit of a distraction for this team. We'll see if he plays tomorrow. If it's just a one-and-done situation, maybe that'll help ease the tension of it here. But it's interesting that, we're only 5 games into the season here. We've already seen 2 incidents with Benny Williams already. Yeah, we can only ask the questions, Brent. We can't provide the answers. So, you get to say what you get to say, what you want to say. And when you're asked a question like that, and that's what he chose to say, and it's his right to say whatever he wants to say. And they could have used him out there today, Donna, because you had Chris Bell, who struggled to shoot out there. He was for 18. Justin Taylor hasn't scored yet in Hawaii. No. He struggled again on the offensive end. The Orange were 3 of 24 from 3-point range. And what's interesting about that, and you noted this in your quick takes, Donna, teams are giving Syracuse the space to shoot, and they're still not taking advantage of it, unfortunately. Well, they're taking advantage of it in that they're taking the shots. They're just not making the shots. Right. In the last 2 games, they are 9 of 44 from the 3-point line, which is very bad. That's tough. Yeah. And only one guy has really sort of made them consistently, and that is Chris Bell, who was, I believe, took 13 or 14 shots today and made 2 of them. So today just was not his day, and it was nobody else's day either. So it's a very concerning thing because Syracuse has the kind of offense right now where they're spreading it out. They want their guards to take their men one-on-one to the basket and either try to score the ball, which has been the thing that they've been doing or trying to do, or kick it out to somebody for an open 3. But nobody's making those open 3s. So that is a problem. Rebounding was certainly an issue again today. The backcourt was a little better in this one than yesterday combined. They had the ball a lot. Judah Mintz, 22 points. J.J. Starling with 15. And we'll go over a couple other things here shortly, Donna, but I want to get some feedback from our Syracuse Sports Insiders. And we've been hearing from you guys about basketball. We've certainly been hearing from you guys about the issues going on with the football team and who's going to replace Dino Babers as head coach. Just text the word orange to 315-847-3895. You get direct access to me. It's not a group chat thing. Don, I don't know about you, but I hate group chats. And I'm okay with group chats. I'm not a big fan. I exit myself out of them
pretty quickly when I get involved in one.
Well, the beauty of the group chat is you don't have to say anything at all. You can just listen to it.
This is true. This is true. You can't be an observer.
Yeah.
You can't. But this is not a group chat. You text me, I text you kind of thing. You get my opinions first. You get insider access. You get behind the scenes stuff. And you get priority on this podcast and the Syracuse Sports Podcast as well. So a few notes from our insiders here, Donna, a few opinions. Let's go. Kevin says, still early with a new coach. I love the effort, but once again, rebounding an issue, non-consistent shooting, as we were just talking about there. Mintz and Starling are fun to watch. Jim says this team will take time to come together and play better as a unit, but one thing they need to do right away, share the ball better and assist on some more baskets. Of course, if they made more baskets, the assist numbers might go up, as we were talking about with the three-point shooting. That's key there, right?
When you're 3 of 24 from 3, you're not going to get a whole lot of assists on those shots. But I mean, I do agree that there should be the ball movement could be better, the player movement could be better. I think this is just a team that is built at this point around those two guards. Those two guards are going to have the ball in their hands most of the time. Those two guards are going to try to initiate offense because nobody really else has sort of shown any inclination to be able to score except for Chris, who had just a tough day today.
And you see that disparity, Donna, with like Tennessee and Gonzaga not only are top 11 teams, right? Yeah. But you have teams that kind of know where they're going, know what they're doing, know what their offense is. They're precise. Syracuse is still trying to figure that out. And you noted it. JJ and Judah, they're going to run this offense. They're going to be this team. But I still think they're still trying to figure out who goes where, who does what. And there's a little bit more, I guess, for lack of a better term, freedom and ISO ball involved in the Syracuse offense, at least at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should just take a step back. And I know it's really hard to do, especially after 2 sort of crushing defeats, to understand that, Syracuse just played 2 teams in the top 11, and those 2 teams are in the top 11 for a really good reason. They're both really good teams. They're both really well coached teams. And we're talking about a very young Syracuse team with a brand new head coach. And, one of the things Adrian said today in the postgame was that, they spent so much time working on their defense that they haven't really done as much addressing of their offense as they should or they could at this point. So he thinks that, as the season progresses, maybe they will get a little bit better on offense. Maybe they'll figure things out a little bit better on offense. But he really wants to impress upon them how important it is to guard and how important it is to rebound, neither of which they've done all that great here, frankly. Right. Yeah. I mean, again, they're playing against very high-level teams. And somebody emailed me or texted me today or yesterday about, well, Tennessee didn't play that great yesterday. When Gonzaga didn't play that great today, and they still beat Syracuse by 20. Yeah, but they're really good teams. And they're also trying to find their way at this point in the season. There's a lot. They have a lot of options on those. They have a lot of scoring options. They have big, strong, physical dudes inside. They just have a lot of pieces that Syracuse right now does not have.
I felt like in the Tennessee game, the score didn't really tell the tale of that game. I felt like this game, it certainly told the tale better. There were times when Syracuse got within it. It was 53-47. Gonzaga hits 2 consecutive threes. It felt like almost any time Syracuse got close, the Zags had an answer. We mentioned the rebounding. It was a 48-28 gap. You had 2 guys on the Zags that almost matched Syracuse's rebounding effort collectively on that point. A couple more texts, Donna, from Adam, who I think has an interesting text here and saying, am I crazy to be encouraged? The backcourt's a level of athletic talent we haven't seen in a while. McLeod can be a defensive force, and I have to assume Bell is the guy we believe is legit, but just not what we saw today. Taylor is solid, though he struggled today, and there's quality depth like Brown and Copeland with Westry possibly to come. He says, am I nuts on that? I think that's what you were talking about, which is just a younger team when it finds its way, when those guys can contribute consistently, we're going to see this thing start to hum a little bit.
Yeah, I think one of the big issues with Syracuse at this point is they're not getting any easy baskets. They're not getting anything in transition, and they're not getting anything easy around the rim. Every shot to me is like a really hard shot. I mean, when those guards are driving in there, they got guys hanging on them. There's not that much room in there for the most part. Sometimes there is. Sometimes they just beat their guy off and they can have a pretty clear lane to the basket. But almost every shot these guys are taking are hard shots. They're not getting any open 10-footers or open shots at the rim or transition shots. And that's what these other teams are getting on Syracuse. So I think once this, let's again, I don't want to be too dramatic about what has happened after 2 games against 2 very good teams. But I think Syracuse really they do have a lot of work to do. They've got a lot to do, and I think primarily what they need to do is get much better on defense and much better on the glass. I mean, they have to defensive rebound better. I mean, this has always been sort of a Achilles heel of Syracuse's teams. And I think myself and possibly others have thought, well, maybe it's because they're rebounding out of a zone. But now they're rebounding out of a man. And
that's what's interesting about it, right? And a couple more texts here, and I want to pick up on that point. James says, and James has been one of our more active texters in the Syracuse Sports Insider group. Good to see him here, saying, once again, another game that feels like an 8-point loss when really it was about 20. Syracuse is competing, but there are issues I'm not sure can be solved until about mid-season. It will need to be solved with recruiting, i.e. shooting, in the long term. But he says it's a feisty team that I will like to see develop, just has some big flaws right now. And one more from Kay, who asks, is this team capable of improving and learning from their mistakes? Or are we going to be equally as bad as the last 2 seasons? Now, what you just said there about rebounding and defense, Donna, like we saw it in the Colgate game. And I understand that was full court press. That's a whole different mentality. But those 2 things can be, and I'm not saying this team doesn't play hard, but rebounding and defense, it just comes from that drive and that energy and that passion. And when you're still kind of trying to figure your way, when we see this team start to play and not think out there, those things will come in that case. How did you see the mix between the man and the zone? It looks like they're playing some zone on inbounds plays and baseline plays, switching to man here and there. But how did that balance go in this game?
I think they're playing more zone with Naheem in there too, because they don't want Naheem to get in the pick and roll because it's hard for him to get back. I think the problem is defensively is that they're playing too close up on their guys, and they're getting beat off the bounce, and that's the worst thing you can do because then it just exposes the rest of the defense. You have to have help side defense, you have to have proper rotations on help side defense, and none of that is happening. They're getting beat off the bounce too much, and that is the biggest problem right now that I see with their defense.
I wanted to ask you a little bit more about Naheem as well, because he's just got that huge presence out there. But when you're 7'4", like you said, the pick and rolls and some things that can cause a weakness in his game a little bit. And it's funny, Donna, you were there. I don't know if you could hear Bill Walton in the arena, but oh, what a trip. He called him Nelson McLeod, Naheem Nelson, a couple other mixtures of his name, I think a little bit. And Bill Walton saying, is it, I believe he said, is it orange the fruit or orange the color? I like colors. And a lot of other Bill Waltonisms in there. But it was interesting to see Bill Walton, one of the best big men of all time, kind of talk about Naheem and analyze Naheem McLeod and what he can do. How do you feel he's best used, Donna? Because right now we've seen Naheem gets mostly first half minutes, and then Malik Brown kind of takes the baton for the second half.
Well, he needs to get some rebounds. That's number one. He's 7'4", and he needs to rebound the ball better. That's primarily the thing. He's blocked a bunch of shots, which is good. And he's when some of the guys have gotten beat off the bounce, he has stepped in and blocked a few shots. But like from the jump of this game, they got the ball into Graham Ike, I believe is how you pronounce his name. And he made this beautiful spin move on Naheem and just left him in the dust and put it up and under in the basket. And that was just a gorgeous first move. And then they just kept going in there to him. Can he guard one-on-one a good big man? We have yet to sort of see it. I don't think he has been particularly impressive 1v1 against the big men of these other teams. But he does, you'd think he'd be super imposing because he's very tall. And I think there have been a couple of times in these games where guards have gone in there and have backed out a little bit once they see him, once he's the secondary defender sliding over. Once they see him, they're like, oh, okay, they're going to back it out. But can he guard 1v1 against another big man? Can he guard Armando Bacot? Can he guard PJ Hall? I don't know.
While we're on the big man subject here, people have been really speculating, and you've been asked a lot. Mike's been asked a lot. I've been asked quite a few times. Hey, what's up with Moni or Hema? Well, we saw him today in that situation. McLeod picked up a couple quick fouls. he needed a rest, needed to get him out there. So at least we know that Monier's available to come in. We saw Peter Carey play yesterday. Today it was Monier that got the run.
Yeah, I think Adrian was asked about the center rotations after in the post game today, and he said something about Malik and Naheem are going to play in there, and he said he tried Peter in the first game, but Peter was just he just was too nervous in that game. He played like 4 or 5 minutes, and that just not even that, maybe 2 or 3 minutes, and just did not work out. He just was too amped up for the game. I think he should shot like an air ball or hit the side of the backboard from like 6 feet on the baseline. So he just wasn't, he's not ready for that kind of competition at this point. And so I think Munir, he's on the team and he practiced. I mean, I went to practice on Friday and he did not look physically incapable. He got up and down the court. He practiced. So I don't know. I guess it's just a matter of like which, I guess it's the coach's decision about who he plays at center, and those are the guys he's picked thus far.
Donna, it was interesting to hear during the ESPN broadcast that they talked to Judah Mintz a little bit, and he said that he had to be more of a floor general for this team. And look, he's a talented offensive player. He can create. He can get to the free throw line. I almost feel like we talk about Josh Allen and the Bills a lot before Syracuse games, right? I almost feel like I'm talking about Josh Allen in some ways. Like, you don't want to limit Judah Mintz, but at the same time, you do have to coach him up in the right spots to be the offense versus running the offense. Josh Allen at least has, the freedom that he has to be the offense in a lot of ways, and it looks like they finally got him back to that this week against the Jets. Let's see if that still goes here. What's the balance with Judah there being the general versus being the offense? And today's an example of where it can work. He had 22 points and had to be that guy to supercharge the offense.
Yeah, I mean, he had 22 points, but they lost by 20. So,
That's
yes, good job. Yeah. But I mean, at this point of the season, I'm not sure what you do, because clearly the two best offensive players are the two guys who have the ball in their hands the most. Those are their two best guys. And would you like to see a little bit more movement? Would you like to see a little more screening? Would you like to see a little bit more cutting and all that to try to, like I said earlier, to try to get some easier buckets? Yes. All of that would be way better if they could do that. But I don't think once he gets into the lane, I think he's pretty determined he's gonna shoot the ball. And today, like, what incentive did he have to pass it out? Because he was scoring in there and nobody else could make a shot. So today, I think, okay, he's doing what he's doing, and I would prefer that my point guard gave the ball up a little bit more. I would prefer that they ran a little bit different kind of an offense. But clearly at this point, it seems to me that they are going to rely on those two guards to do all or most of their scoring. And at this point, they are a pretty easy team to guard because those two guys are getting all the shots. And if I were defending against them, if I were Sean Manad tomorrow, I would put everybody in the paint and say, somebody make a jump shot. And that's the danger of relying so much on just drivers and penetrators.
Points in the paint favored Gonzaga 44-36. It was a much bigger gap in the first half. Syracuse did close that a little bit. We mentioned the rebounding edge.
They drove it. They drove it and finished. So
right.
That's how they cut down that level. Yeah.
Gonzaga. This has happened 2 days in a row, Donna, too, while we're on the subject of the backcourt. The Zags 17 assists, Syracuse just 6. They only had 2 in the first half, and that was the case for Tennessee as well. Does that just kind of speak to what we were talking about with JJ and Judah?
Well, today, to me, Gonzaga's first half was about as perfect as a half as you can have offensively. They just moved the ball so great. Their guards like I said, got by Syracuse's guards, got into the lane, and just lobbed the ball or pass the ball to a baseline cutter. So they did a really, really good job of moving the ball, beating their guys off the dribble, and then finding a cutter in or near the basket. They got a bunch of transition buckets in the first half too, because sometimes what happens is the guards get, if Judah or JJ are driving the ball, and they get the shot block or they miss and the other team gets a rebound, nobody gets back. They don't rotate back enough to guard against transition. So Gonzaga, I thought, just played beautiful, beautiful offense in that first half today. It speaks to, I'm not sure what this speaks to, but it's not good for Syracuse in that Gonzaga turned it over 12 times in the second half and won by 20. That is hard. It's hard to do. Hard to give up that many possessions. I guess they out rebounded them by such a significant number that the possession that those turnovers weren't as impactful. I I guess a couple of interesting things or good things that happen with Syracuse. When Syracuse sort of wants to turn it on defensively, right? When they want to get after it on the defensive end, they're still not great at guarding the ball, but they're good at poking passes away. They're good at coming from behind and poking a pass away. They're good at creating a little bit of chaos and creating some nutsiness, I guess, for lack of a better word, on the court. And so there were moments today when they did that, especially when they were trying to come back. I mean, again, getting a team to cough it up 12 times in one half is pretty remarkable. So there were times when that defense was doing things that could help them get back into a game.
Donna, before we let you go, I'm going to put it back on the screen. I just see this, and you're there in Hawaii. Give me some of the tidbits, the good food you've had, the scenery, the beach. Like what have been some of the highlights of being in Hawaii the past couple of days outside of the basketball coverage?
You know what? I look super tan on this picture. I'm not sure why that is. I'm not that tan, but it's just the lighting in here. It has been, we went on, I'm here with my partner, Bill. We went on 2 hikes, one by ourselves and one up to the Diamond Head Crater. And then we went with my old friend, Kim Baxter, who used to work for us.
That's right.
The 2003 National Championship.
Shout out to Kim. All right.
Yeah, shout out to Kim. She and her wife came to pick us up, and we went on they live here, obviously, on the other side of the mountains over here. And they took us on another beautiful hike where we summited and saw this, it was just beautiful scenery. It's just beautiful. The weather has been slightly cloudy, it spits rain a little bit, but right now it's beautifully sunny out. And it's been nice too. It's been sunny. It's warm. I've eaten a lot of fish. I'm a big fish person, and I've eaten a lot of fish. I also am not a big mixed drink person, but I've had a couple of Mai Tais. I'm like,
you have to. You have
and
to.
They've been delicious.
Right?
So yeah, that's what I've been up to. Doing a lot of walking. I'm staying at an Airbnb, and we're not that far from the beach. We're probably a couple blocks from the beach. So
fantastic.
We walk down there, and we have a little kitchen here, a little kitchen set up, and so all in all, it's been pretty good. It's just been, if Syracuse were playing a little bit better basketball, I think everybody would be a lot happier.
The sun would shine a little brighter in Hawaii. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
So we got one more tomorrow. Syracuse, again, likely Chaminade as we speak. That game's not over yet, but I'm going to assume that's going to be the case. And Don and I will wrap up 3 days of coverage for the Orange in Hawaii at the Maui Invitational, and just before Thanksgiving, and everybody can take a break for the holiday, and no rest for the weary. Syracuse will come back after that, play LSU on Monday at the Dome in the SEC ACC Challenge, and the tough opponents continue for Syracuse. We'll see what's up with Benny Williams on Wednesday and all the things as day 3 of the Maui Invitational coming up for the Orange. For now, day 2 is a 76-57 loss to the Zags. We thank Donna for joining us from lovely Hawaii. We thank you for watching. We thank our Syracuse Sports Insiders. Make sure you send ORANGE, the word ORANGE, to 315-847-3895 to sign up if you have not become a Syracuse Sports Insider yet. And we thank our friends at Krause Health, the exclusive healthcare provider for Syracuse Athletics. Donna, go have another Mai Tai. We will talk to you again tomorrow. I got to do some more
writing, Brent. I wish I could have a Mai Tai, but that's going to have to wait.
I mean, I won't tell if you're writing with a Mai Tai. There.
I don't know. I don't know how to make them. I don't have any ingredients here, but if I can get the Yelp people to run one over here for me.
There you go. Thanks, Donna. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.
All right. Mahalo, as they say here on the islands.